follow-up is part of the business. So we got to get out of our own head. We got to get out of our own way and know that follow-up isn't really about you. Hey, everyone. Welcome back to the podcast. Becky here with you today. I am super excited to spend some time together and chat a little bit about our favorite or maybe least favorite F word, which is follow-up. I am really excited to spend some time on this topic because I know how important it is. And I also know, to be frank, what a pain in the butt it is. Let's be real, right? Following up with people, staying in touch with people, looping back to people. I know it is not the most glamorous part of the job. And I think for many direct sellers, it's kind of an area of our business that we avoid. So I'm going to talk a little bit today about some simple strategies to make follow-up easier, to be more proactive about our follow-up. And so as you're going out there and you're working hard to get those new leads in the door, that you have a solid strategy to build relationships and connect with those leads. And so you turn them into customers, right? I think for many people, like I said, you don't need more leads. You have a lot of leads. You have a lot of people in your network, a lot of people you've started conversations with. But the problem is we haven't done the follow-up work or taken the time to build the relationship. And so that lead becomes a customer. So that's kind of a gap, right? Is we have a lead coming in, we have a customer. If you're thinking about a sales funnel, right? We have kind of our middle of funnel. That's where our leads are coming in. And then a bottom of funnel is a lot smaller. Those are the people that are actually shopping with us and purchasing for us. And in a traditional business, they are not really reliant on people building that relationship throughout the funnel. They're reliant on systems and automations and things working for them in the background, which is fabulous. But one real big advantage you have as a direct seller, as a social seller, is that you're a real human and you can be really personable and you can do a really great job at follow-up. So when we think about a sales funnel, right, we think about it being big at the top and small at the bottom. I would imagine the bottom of your sales funnel should be a lot wider, a lot bigger than maybe a traditional business because you have you in the middle of that funnel doing the relationship building and doing the connecting and doing the follow-up. So we're going to talk a little bit about what holds us back from follow-up because let's be real, there's things that are, blocks in our head holding us back from doing the work that we know we need to do. We're going to talk a little bit about what to say when following up, some systems you can use to make your follow-up easier. And then we're going to get into how many times should we even be following up? Because that is a question I get all the time. How much is too much? So let's dive into it. The reason why we're not following up, and I'm sure you have your reasons, but for a lot of people, there is a fear factor there, right? There's the idea of if I follow up with this person, they might just say no, or that they're not interested. If I follow up with this person, they may think that I'm being pushy or icky or gross or salesy or spammy or whatever it is in our head that's oh, we don't want to do that work, right? But I think the reframe here, and this is where we get in our own way sometimes, is that we're not being pushy. We're not being desperate. We are not being overly salesy. Follow-up is part of the business. It is creating great customer service. It is building relationships with people. It is getting to know people on a deeper level. It is the habits of following up to keep conversations going, right? So we got to get out of our own head. We got to get out of our own way and know that follow-up isn't really about you. It's about that client that you're looking to serve, that lead that came through, that customer, and you doing everything possible in your skills that you've developed to get to know that person on a deeper level. And are these products a fit for them? They might be, they might not be, but we got to do our due diligence to do that follow-up. And that's part of the customer service game. So if in your head, you're thinking, I don't want to follow up with that person that's been on my list because I feel like I'm being pushy, or I'm worried of what they're going to say or what they're going to think of me. That's a you thing. Get out of your head. And also just know that in the world that we're living in, there is so much automation. There is so much AI. You cannot be replaced by that. You can deliver exceptional customer service in such an authentic, genuine, sincere way. So let's flip that mindset to my people are out there and they're out there waiting to hear from me. That might be something you need to write down, right? My people are out there and they're waiting to hear from me. Put that on a Post-it note. That mindset approach when you're writing an email, when you're writing a blog post, when you're doing your follow-up, when you're showing up online, when you're creating social, all of those kinds of things, my people are out there and they are just waiting to hear from me. So get out of your head. We got to do it. Okay, the next thing that people really get hung up on when it comes to follow-up is that they just don't have a system. They're just not that organized. And this is something that you can learn and you can get good at. So if you're thinking, oh, I'm not a systems person, let me just tell you that you can be a systems person and it doesn't need to be a complicated system. I have seen very, very successful direct selling leaders that are using a spiral notebook, and they might have some tabs on it. They might have been using it since 1983, but they're using a spiral notebook to keep all of their names and the contacts of the people in one place. So that's the bottom line. You just need one place to put all your contacts and you have a system. So one of my favorite tools for this is our 300 Club tracker. If you've not downloaded this, there's a printable version. There is also a Google Sheet template that you can use and make your own. You might want to modify some columns. You might want to change a thing here and there, but it is right there. It is waiting for you. It is a beautiful template. And the idea of this template, really the 300 Club, is making 300 connections over a quarter. So 100 a month or 25 a week. But you can absolutely use this same spreadsheet, the same Google Sheet to manage your follow-up and manage your contacts, right? The other option for you in terms of systems is to use an app or a tool or a CRM that's going to help you prioritize your follow-ups and your reminders. So over at Oh My High, we do have a CRM built into our platform. And with that CRM, you can schedule follow-ups with email and then also with our integration with Project Broadcast over text. So that's going to be a little bit fancier of a funnel, and that's going to be automated for you. So I love that to kind of be your fallback plan. Let's be real. We know the power of showing up in real time with people and creating one-on-one relationships, and you should not abandon that. But if you know you have so much business and you have so many leads and you have so many customers that it has no longer become manageable for you to do on your own from a Google Sheet, that's the time that you're like, okay, gotta lean into a system that has some automation built in and some more bells and whistles. A lot of times we talk about the C model, SEA. S is for scrappy. That's the scrappy side of your business. If you're just getting started or if you don't have a ton of customers or leads yet, you should be doing everything one-on-one, scrappy, like getting yourself out there, getting in the middle of it. But we know that's exhausting. So then we're expanding our network. As our network's growing, then we're moving from that E of expanding to that A of automation. Once we get into that automation season, that's when tools like Oh My High and other CRM tracking tools or follow-up tools are really going to be powerful for you. So you can prioritize who you need to follow up with the limited time you have on your hands. And then you can use that fallback system for your emails and your texts to go off in the background for you. So you're just fielding responses to it. So that's a little bit on the system side. A lot of times we're not doing follow-up because we don't have a system. We have a Post-it note, or we have a planner, or we have a notes app, or we have all these things in different places, or worst off, we're just storing it all in our head, which we all know we have too much going on in our heads. So that is not where we want to store our contacts. We want to use some kind of sheet, some kind of app, something that's going to help us keep everything in one place so we're not reliant on Tuesday, I need to follow up with Betsy because it's been 2 weeks since she placed her order. No. We don't want to be doing that. And then the other thing that I think really holds people back from follow-up is if they've waited too long. And what I mean by that is, and you guys, I know so many listening right now can resonate with this. I did an event last summer and I have a stack of leads this big and it's sitting on my desk and I need to follow up with those people. But now I feel kind of weird because it's been a couple weeks, couple months, couple years. It's been a long time since I have shown face to that person. So there is this awkward feeling of like, gosh, I know I should have done this better. I should have done this more timely. I should have been more on top of it. But I kind of dropped the ball somewhere down the road. And now I just am avoiding this list of leads. And here's the thing, going back to that mantra of these people are out there and they're just waiting to hear from you. In that case, I would say, let's just own it. Go to those people and say, hey, it's Becky. We met at this event. I got to be honest. I have been meaning to check back in with you for a long time. Life happened. Let me catch you up on what's been going on with me. And I didn't want you to think that I forgot about you. Better late than never. Ha ha ha, laughing emoji. Right? People are going to be like, okay, she's real. Okay, I get it. That was nice that they still connected. Are you going to get as many responses as if you would have followed up right away? Maybe not. But there's still people sitting in that pile of leads or that have shopped with you last year or that have been on your list for a long time that are waiting to hear from you. And they're going to give you a pass and they're going to say, it's okay. We get it. Life happens. You're busy. I'm busy. But now that you're here, you're right. I need to replenish this item. Or I did want to tell you what I was looking for on this. Or yes, I am still interested in a collab or a partnership. All of those things can still happen even if it's been a hot minute since you reconnected with people. So it is totally okay to lean into the fact that life happened and you work this business around your life, but you are still here, you're still showing up, and you still love to connect with them. Okay, so what does good follow-up look like? So I'm going to break this down into a couple of different categories. First off, good follow-up when it comes to connecting with a lead. So I'm going to say a lead at an in-person event or even in an online event or a networking event. So this is somebody that comes across your path in one way, shape, or form, and you connect on something and you need to follow up with them. I would say good follow-up is probably the 24 to 48 hour rule. That's when you're still in the BFF zone. Things are fresh. Things are exciting. You don't want to wait forever, but even if you do, you can still recover from that, right? But good follow-up with somebody that you meet online is going to be pretty quick, and it's going to be following up in a personal way about something that you discussed. So it could be something like, hey, Becky, it was great to meet you at that event. I love that you mentioned that you were the chair of a fundraiser for your elementary school. I just wanted to quickly follow up. Can I send over our fundraising package to you? Easy peasy, right? Or, oh, hey, it was so great to meet you at that coffee chat. I promised that I would follow up with you in a couple of things. So real quick, here's a link to my website so you have it for quick reference. Here's where you can find me on social. And if you're still interested, I would love to collaborate with you. I have dates coming up at the end of this month that we could put something together. How does that timing sound? Right? So we're following up quickly, we're following up with a specific ask, and we're being really personal about it. If there's something you connected about, that you laughed about, that, was specific to the situation that you were in, you can definitely mention those level of details. That is just going to increase your rapport with that person, that they're like, oh yeah, they remembered we talked about this, or we giggled about that, or that funny thing happened at that event, or that event was totally dead. Maybe it was another vendor that you're collaborating with. Yeah, that event was quiet, or gosh, that event was crazy. I couldn't keep up. Whatever kind of details you want to mention is just going to help solidify and build that relationship a little bit further. Okay, the next category of follow-up I would say would be new customers. So this is a really important one. Once we acquire a new customer, we want that customer to become a lifer. We want to stay in front of them on the regular. So we're going to say, thank you for your order. We're going to follow up and say, hey, it looks like your order is arriving on Tuesday. Here's the tracking number. We're going to follow up again and say, it looks like your order was delivered. Did you get a chance to open it? Did everything arrive as expected? Then we're going to follow up again, maybe a week or two later, and say, hey, have you had a chance to try it? Have you had a chance to take a peek at it? I thought of you because here's a great tip or a hack or a value added kind of thing related to that product that you just purchased, right? So we want to make sure that we have a pretty good follow-up system in place for those new customers coming in as well so we can best serve them. Because here's the thing, oftentimes our follow-up drops off after that last check-in. We need to make sure that a month or two out, we have another follow-up scheduled because we want to invite them to buy a related product, a complementary product. We want to cross-sell, we want to upsell, we want to get them more of what they already purchased. We're not going to let them just hang out there making a one-time purchase. We don't want any one-time wonders in our business. We want customers coming back for more on the regular. Okay, so that's going to be customer follow-up. So we kind of have lead follow-up, we have customer follow-up, and then I would say there's this other category out there, whether they're people on your team, people interested in the business, people interested in collaborating, those kind of people too. I would make sure that we're staying proactive and connecting with. You can even give them a little star on Instagram, and so they're in a separate feed than all of your friends. And you can make sure you're being intentional about commenting on their content. You can make a side little list of people that you want to engage with on social, that you want to stay in front of, that you want to really proactively build a relationship with. And in all of these cases, we always want kind of an excuse to follow up, right? So it's one thing just to be like, hi, I'm here. But it's another thing to say, hey, I was thinking of you. A new product just dropped and I thought you'd love it. Can I send you a sample? Or to say something like, I'm planning a inventory clearance event and I thought you might want to get your hands on some things. Can I send it to you? Or, hey, I'm doing a challenge or a workshop or an event, something high value, and I'd love to extend an invitation to you. It's on Tuesday. Can you make it? Right? So any kind of thing happening in your business is an excuse to follow up with people. So it doesn't always have to be sales driven. Okay, so next let's talk a little bit about where and how to follow up. So, of course, if you've connected with people on social, it's natural to follow up with them on social. We talked a little bit about adding them to an email marketing system. So if you're using Oh My Hi, putting them into the CRM so they're getting emails and they're staying in front of you. I would say the most common follow-up strategy that I'm seeing is over text. And what I love about text, it's going directly to your phone, right? It's going to your phone, which I think is important. But also on social, things just get lost in the shuffle. It happens to me all the time. Somebody will send me something. Just the other day, a friend of mine was like, hey, did you get a video of my son making that touchdown catch at the football game? And she sent it to me on Instagram, and I was like, oh my gosh, like I can't keep up with social. I was like, let me text you. Yes, I have it on my phone. Let me send you the touchdown pass, right? So definitely using your phone, using text as a way to follow up is probably going to get you a better response rate than sending things over social. So if you have their phone number, I would highly recommend text. I know some people really love picking up the phone and calling people old school, and you're going to know your people that are phone talkers that are going to want to hear from you in that way. I think in 2026, honestly, most people don't want to talk on the phone. They don't. They're screening their calls. They're not sure if they want to answer. So I would be real intentional about who you're picking up the phone and calling and who you are texting. Just because you're texting doesn't mean it can't be personal. So again, adding any of those personal things like, hey, remember when we were here and this happened, or it was so great connecting with you at this event about what, right? Any of those details, of course, we want to call them by name in a text message. We want to make it not feel canned or generic or like the message that you sent 400 other people that morning. You want to make it really customized to them if you have those details available to you. And then the other thing that you can do is send a voice message, right? People love hearing things in your own voice. If you want to next level that, you could send a video and say, hey, it's Becky. It was so great connecting with you. I was just thinking about you as I'm drinking my coffee over here. And I think it'd be so fun if we could collaborate in this way or that way or whatever it might be, right? So a voice message is powerful. You can do that through an iPhone and send that message directly to them. You can also send that video, iPhone, Android, either way works. If you're on Project Broadcast and sending things out, you could do voicemail drops where you record something and it goes straight to their voicemail. That's kind of fun, a little different. And then of course on social, whether you're hanging out on Instagram, Facebook, you can send voice memos back and forth that way too. So voice memos are going to be a great strategy. People are curious. They're like, what did she say? They're going to click the play button because they're curious about what you had to say in that message. And I think you're much more likely to get a response with a voice message or a video message to people. And then when we think about following up after that, right? Say you send the voice message and nobody responds. You can very much so follow up and just say something like, hey, I was thinking of you. I know life gets busy. Did you get a chance to check out my message with like the little up emoji, right? Done that before. The other thing that you can do is if you're like really waiting to hear from someone, maybe they committed to joining your team. Maybe they said that they would collaborate with you. Maybe they, promised to make a purchase when they got paid on Friday, whatever that might be for you, and they kind of ghost you. I would also go and engage with them on social. And I don't mean like dropping comments saying, I left you a message. Did you get it? Like thoughtful, genuine, authentic comments on their social posts or their stories is really powerful because this has happened to all of us before. All of a sudden we see so-and-so commented and then we're like, oh my gosh, I totally dropped the ball. I meant to follow up with that person. What was I thinking? So just showing up in little different areas of their social feed, their text messages, sending the voice messages, that is all gonna really help you build that relationship faster. And ultimately, that's what we're doing in follow-up is we're building the relationship. I think sometimes we feel like we're, just checking the box in the customer service department, but we're building the relationship and we're creating lifetime customers that know us and like us and trust us and want to continue shopping with us. So definitely do not shy away from it. It is the most money-making activity in your business, especially since you've already worked hard for these leads or these customers to come into your world. Now we want to just kind of continue to nurture them so they just keep coming back for more because you got some good stuff to offer. Now, the last thing I want to mention is really when it comes to follow-up, how much is too much? Because people ask me this, like, gosh, I followed up with a message on Facebook, and then I sent a text, and then I sent a voice message, and I haven't heard anything from them. Like, do I stop? Do I keep going? Do I keep them on my list? Do I remove them from my list? So my personal perspective on it is that if somebody's like, I am not interested, and they flat out tell you, no, not, never, get out of my life, right? Then it's like, okay, yeah, hard stop, no, remove them from the list. We're not going to keep like pushing things on them if they're not interested. But if people are ghosting you, or if people are interested but like didn't quite follow through on something, we keep them on the list. And, if you sent 6 messages in a row and you haven't gotten a response, like, okay, maybe it's time to let that go, put them on a archive list. Maybe you come back to them in a month or you come back to them in 2 months. We're not going to just keep like hitting them with follow-up messages every day. But if you've messaged them like once or twice and haven't heard back, I would definitely send that third follow-up. There is a ton of data out there about just how long it takes for somebody to make a purchase decision or how long it takes for someone to say yes to something. And I guarantee it's more than 3 conversations. So we want to keep that going in a really thoughtful and genuine way. So again, engaging with them on social, leaving personal messages, and eventually they might come off your list. If they're ignoring every message you send, they might not be the hottest lead. And that's okay because you have a whole lot of other leads out there that you can follow up with. So I would take some time today and really evaluate, do you have a system for follow-up? Do you have a system? Is it a Google Sheet? Is it a spiral notebook? Is it an app that you're using? Do you know what you're going to say to people at different checkpoints after they've moved from a lead into a first-time customer? Those ones are pretty easy to script out and save. You can, if you're using ScentShare, by the way, they have an incredible keyboard where you can save those quick messages directly on your keyboard and toggle between your actual keyboard and those messages. So they're right there on the phone, making it super easy for follow-up. So that's a great strategy to try. And then I would also be looking at that spreadsheet that you're using or that spiral notebook. How do you know who you're going to follow up and when you're going to follow up with them? Of course, if your business is big enough, lean into some automation. Use Project Broadcast, use Oh My High. But you also want to overlay that by really connecting with your hottest leads and building that relationship with them in a very intentional way. So this is your sign today to go take a look at your current follow-up system if you have one, refine it if you need to, create it if you don't have one. Grab the 300 Club tracker. That is going to give you a starting point to use, and then build it into your calendar every day, right? We talk about the ABCs inside our academy: active selling, building relationships, creating content. This is in the building relationships category. And oftentimes it falls into active selling when we're asking for a sale too. So we know out of all the work that we have to do in our business, this is the money-making event. This is really what's going to fuel your paycheck. And this is also what's going to separate you from being good at what you do and having a really strong business from those that don't. Those that don't follow up, their business is not going to grow at the same speed that your business is going to be growing. And they're going to be working really, really hard constantly to bring in new leads. And then once those leads come in, they're kind of reliant on them deciding that they're going to make a purchase. It is up to you to nurture those leads and move them in from a lead to a customer. So again, this is one of those things that make and break you. You can do it in 20 minutes or less every day, but having that sheet to refer to and not relying on your brain to be like, who am I going to follow up with today, is going to make a world of difference. So with that said, it is the end of February if you're listening in real time. February is a short month. You may be feeling that in terms of your sales. So this would be a perfect time to revisit your follow-up strategy, reconnect with people, and you can do this again in a very, very thoughtful, genuine, loving way that's not going to come across as spammy, icky, or gross because your people are out there and they are waiting to hear from you. All right. I hope you guys get out there and make it a great day. I look forward to seeing you back here on the podcast next week. Bye, everyone. This episode is sponsored by CinchShare. CinchShare is the #1 social media scheduler for direct sellers and loved by creators in any industry. It's truly your one-stop shop for all things social. Join hundreds of thousands of social sellers and entrepreneurs who turn to CinchShare for free social media training and resources. Get started today with your free 30-day trial at moderndirectseller.com/CinchShare.